Before we dive into today's episode, I have something truly special to share. Next September, I'll be leading an intimate women's retreat through the south of France and northern Italy, and you're invited. Picture this: mornings exploring the colorful markets of the French Riviera, afternoons sipping wine, and a hotel view with golden Mediterranean sunsets. Whether you love photography, food, or just want to reconnect with your playful creative self, this trip is designed for you. Spots are limited, so if all this sounds like your kind of adventure, please visit tourwithabsolutely.com and look for the tour France and Italy with Crystal. You can also send me a message or check out the show notes. Claudine Hemingway is a descendant of famed writer Ernest Hemingway. We bumped into each other at a party and decided to team up and dive deep into French history, but with a twist, by bringing a spotlight to those lesser-known creatives in France. This is History with a Hemingway. Welcome back, guys. I'm here with Claudine, and we are talking about Notre-Dame today. It's going to be open very soon, so we got the latest updates for you.
I know. I cannot stand it because it is 62 days away. That is a little bit less than 2 months.
This is super exciting.
December 8th is when it will open. December 7th, there's a lot of stuff online that you'll see where it says December 7th, but December 7th is when they're going to be doing a big mass. The president will be there. It's going to be a big ceremony where the president hands over symbolically the keys back to the Catholic diocese, although the city of Paris actually owns the church, but it's a big symbolic thing. And that's on December 7th, but December 8th is the first day that we could go back in, and I cannot possibly wait a second.
I love it. Yes, we got to I can't believe how fast time goes.
I know. I mean, when this happened 5 years ago, I was like, oh my God, 5 years is so far away. It's going to be horrible. And here we are. And I was just down there this morning. And every time I go down there, there's more and more that is being revealed that you could see. And it's pretty fantastic.
I mean, we're going to be there. I know you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there first thing in the morning. And I've already said, like, that day it's crossed out on my schedule. And I will be, I'm sure, I know I already have a lot of tours booked in December, January, February to take people in there. And I already had a very good client ask me about that day. And I'm like, that day is for me and Notre-Dame. That's it.
Ask me.
I've waited too long for this, that I need to be able to soak it all in. But we've have some updates for you, because we are getting so close. Some updates of some things that have been done, and then some of the things that are still going to be done. And there's so much amazing stuff. So in the past, we did a episode just about the bells, if you remember. And on September 12th, the 8 bells from the North Tower came back to the church. So the night of the fire, when it was the whole roof is gone, the spire is gone, the fire started getting close to the towers. And the biggest problem was that it started to get into the North Tower. And that is when they made the call that says, if we don't stop this in the next 20 minutes, we're losing the church. Because the belfries that are in the North and South towers are made of wood. Obviously, the bells are not wood, but the belfry itself. And some of that wood is very, very old as the roof. And so we know that the wood that's old is just boom, going in a second, because it's just so dry. So the fire started to get in there. It started to actually damage some of the belfry and 2 of the bells, but thankfully the Pompiers du Paris, the firemen, got it out and saved everything. Because if those had burned, the bells, there's 8 bells. The biggest bell is 4.2 tons, and the smallest bell is just under a ton, and there's 8 of them. So if those had fallen, it would have just taken the entire facade front side of the church down and would be gone.
Holy cow. I mean, it's amazing they were able to save it.
It was just, there's so many things. I was just telling some wonderful clients today that I took around Notre Dame that I was like, it doesn't, whatever you believe in, either you're religious or you're not, there was some things about that night that there was just, you could call it luck, you could call it divine, intervention, whatever you want. But there was something, I think, protecting that church, and just the right place at the right time and the right people there. we're very lucky that we still have it today.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I can't wait to see the recreation.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So when it's done and reopens, it's basically taking the church back to exactly what it was like in like 1863 after the restoration of Viollet-le-Duc. Everything in there is going to be so clean. It's going to be just like it was done, well over 150 years ago.
Wow, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty amazing. So the bells that are in there date to 2013, and that's when we did an episode a year or so ago, and it was in 2013. They had the 8 bells redone for the 850th anniversary, and when they say they were redone, they take the old bells, they melt them down, and they make new ones from the old brass. And so the brass is also it's very rich in tin. So it gives that really great sound that you want the bells to do. They were done at the Havre Atelier. And this is the same atelier that actually did the restoration and the cleaning of these bells again, just this year. The bells themselves are very brittle. They will chip easily. And if there's a crack in them, the people with the perfect ears, they could hear which bell has a crack in it just from hearing it when the bells are rung.
That's so cool. I love that.
I know. I don't think I would. I might be like, something sounds weird, but I don't think so. But so in there, in the belfry, there's motors. So there's 2 motors, one that moves the bells, that makes them sway, and one that rings the bells. So the big ones in the South Tower, where you have Emmanuel and Marie, Emmanuel's the oldest one. That one actually dates back to the 17th century. And that one was recast from an old bell as well. And that one was actually like anointed by Louis the 14th. That's how long it's been in the church. Those ones sometimes they actually have to ring by hand, but the smaller ones are rung by with this mechanism. So as I was saying, Gabrielle, that's the biggest one, and that's the one I saw when I went by there a couple weeks ago. I peeked into the little hole in the fence, and I was like, "Oh, there's Gabriel." It's 4.2 tons. It's named after the archangel. And the other one is 3.8 tons, and that's Anne Genevieve. That's named after Saint Anne and Saint Genevieve. Then there's Denis, Saint Denis. There's the other bell is Marcel. That one's just 2 tons, just 2 tons. He was the 9th bishop, and he was the, buddy of Saint Genevieve. Then Etienne, Saint Etienne, the first church that was there. Then there's Benoit Joseph. Benoit is the French name for Benedict. So it was named after Pope Benedict, who was the Pope at the time. And then you have Maurice and Jean-Marie. And all of these bells have names. There's the names for the bells in the past. And we did all of these on a past episode. So I'll put the link on my website. But did you know there's 8 bells in that tower and 2 in the other? Do you know there's actually 21 bells at Notre-Dame?
I had no idea.
The other ones don't have fancy names. So it's like, man, they're just bells. But they have 7 of them that are in the spire, in the lower part of the spire. And then there's 3 of them in the north transept that are connected to the clocks. So those are the ones. It's not the big ones on the church that ring when it's just they're telling you the time of the day between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Those are ones that are in the transept that ring. So, I could see right now at Saint-Sulpice Towers, when those bells in the tower ring, they ring all day. But at Notre Dame, the big ones only ring for mass, and the really big ones only ring on very special occasions.
I'm excited to get the Sacre-Cœur back because I feel like it's been really crazy with Notre Dame being closed.
I know there's so many people up there, but it's going to be, I mean, just the amount of people. I was there this morning at 8:30, and I love going that early because nobody is there. But by the time we walked back around at 11:30, it was bonkers outside. It's also a gorgeous day today in Paris, but I can't imagine what it's going to be like. And I'll give you updates about what you need to do if you do want to come. But another thing that we mentioned, the time of the day, there's clocks. There's 4 clocks on Notre Dame, and they're on the transepts on both sides, on the north and the south side, and they both face east and west. So there's 4 of those clocks. I have a gentleman that follows me that is always asking me, are the clocks back? Are the clocks back? And I did the other day because I have the new iPhone and the camera on that thing and the zoom is insane. And I could zoom all the way in and I could see where it had the Roman numerals for 10. I'm like, oh, there's a clock. So it's hiding, but they are back there. They're updating the whole system, the operating system of the clocks, because all of that was destroyed because it's in the roof. The other thing that has been returned is the organ, and they're starting to slowly tune that, but they have to have complete silence when they do that. So that's going to be something that is probably at the very last few days, they're going to be tuning the organ. But the people that replace the organ, they bring it back and they reinstall it and stuff. You have to be like certified organ people, installers, restores, everything to even touch them.
Really?
So even the night, if even the night of the fire, like a fireman would not be able to be like, oh, I'm just gonna go up there and start taking down the pipes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very very technical. But inside it of the church, when it reopens, are changing the entrance. You used to go in the last door, which was the Saint Anne that's on the south side. You're now going to go in through the center door, the last judgment, and you'll go into the church on the north side. So you'll go in the door and go left and go around the north. And they're changing, even though all the chapels, which I'm going to have to study these again because I used to know them all by heart, and now they're changing everything. So while one chapel still might be painted, the walls will be painted by Viollet-le-Duc with Saint-Geneviève and, Saint-Jean d'Arc. They're changing the names of them, and they're changing it to contemplate the biblical history of salvation.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So all of them are going to be different. And so you'll go around, they're changing where the different paintings were. And then you'll come back out the door of St. Anne. There's also the biggest thing that people are going to need to know, especially probably the first year, you're going to have a timed ticket. And these timed tickets, you will get it either the day before or the day of. There's no, like, it's not going to be all of a sudden you could book this 4 months out. It's only going to be available like the day before, the day of. And it says it guarantees you're going to get in, but we're going to have to wait and see. And they're going to be free, but you're going to have a time ticket. They say that people could still come and line up, but those first couple days, I think, you're either going to want to make sure you have that ticket or just stay away, because I think it's going to be a little bonkers. And I'm really hoping it's not going to be anything like the catacombs, because that system is a week out and it's almost impossible.
Oh, is that how that one works now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Catacombs is you could only book a week out and it's almost impossible to do it.
Yeah, you never get a ticket.
They're not going to let large groups in for the first 6 months. So if you're coming as a large tour group like Viking Cruises or one of those things, you can't get in there unless you're going in there and doing all the tickets, booking the times individually. But again, they're going to be free. They're not charging you to go in here. I kind of think they should do it where everybody has to pay like €1, because then that helps keep the upkeep of the church.
Exactly. But all the
Like, why
churches
not?
been free,
I
huh?
buy every church I go into, if I'm by myself, I always buy and light a candle, because
Yeah.
I figured that also helps keep the upkeep of the church. And, here's €2 here and there.
Yeah, help them out.
It's not a big deal. The chapels inside, there's 24, and they were done by Viollet-le-Duc in 1865. He completely changed every single one of them. He is the one that designed all the paintings on the wall. And I can't wait till we get to share some of the episodes about the inside, and maybe even do a video. Maybe we need to do a video one from inside. But there was 14 different restoration groups that worked on these chapels. So they had a ton of them. You have all the paintings. We did that one a couple months ago about all the paintings that have been restored. All of that stuff will start to return to the church in about 4 weeks.
Oh, that fast. Wow.
Yeah. And today when I was there, I was sitting up on the bleachers looking down. There's been this big wall, around it forever. There's now the big wall that's on the actual courtyard in front of the church. There's now a little temporary wall in front of it, and for that usually means that they're about to take down the other wall because they've done this on the side, and the whole inside where you used to have huge like shipping container kind of things where they were storing things. They had a big tent in there for a long time where they were sculpting all of the pieces that were going back onto the roof. All of that is gone. Like today when I went there, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much that has gone. Right now, most of what they're doing is taking things out, taking down scaffolding, taking out garbage, taking everything out, and it's so exciting.
Finally.
I know, I can't believe it. So they said by the summer, this last summer, we were supposed to be able to get closer, but that didn't happen. So I'm hoping that that's going to happen in the next week or two. Inside the church, also, you had the Pietà that's in the back. Everybody remembers that very famous picture the day after the fire that you could see with the burnt embers, and in the background, you saw the gold cross with the Pietà. The Pietà and everything in the church has been cleaned, but there was a tiny bit of a marking on the hand of Christ on the Pietà that the hot lead dripped from the roof onto his hand, and they cleaned it all, but they left some of the marking there as kind of a symbolic reminder of the fire.
I kind of like that they left it kind of like they leave the bullet holes from the war.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be kind of cool. But one of the other things about it is when Notre Dame reopens, it's literally going to be the most state-of-the-art cathedral in the world. It has had everything redone. The sprinkler system in the roof is crazy. I saw a couple weeks ago for Patrimon, they did the thing again in front where they have it's been so amazing the last 3 years to see it, because every year it depends on where they are in in the whole passage of time of the restoration. And so this time they had the company that's been doing and installing all of the sprinklers, and they had what they look like. I mean, they are crazy. They don't look like the old sprinklers that you would have in houses. And it also has the most up-to-date electrical. The wires are covered and can withstand 1,000 degrees. There is going to be sensors all throughout the church that on every minute it sucks in like a little bit of air, and it goes through all these sensors. And so if there was even the tiniest bit of smoke, it will find it immediately, like down to the second. And it's testing everything. There's a whole giant thing in the basement underneath the altar that's going to be this whole high-tech gallery that they could keep an eye on every single thing of the church. So it's going to be amazing. It's 200 kilometers of fireproof electrical cables that are going through that place. But it's going to be pretty amazing. I mean, I think, it'd be kind of cool. They need an app so we could keep an eye on everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that place is going anywhere again anytime soon.
It's not going anywhere. And I've had people, I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel of like once a month or every month and a half, I do a video around it, giving you all the updates and showing you. So I'll put the link so you can see that. But every once in a while, I have somebody who's like, I sure hope they're putting some fire extinguishers in there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they thought of that.
Definitely this time we're covered.
I'm pretty sure they probably got that handled this time. But it's going to be amazing, the stuff that they have in there. And, the church, the very back of the church stays to 1160. So it took almost 200 years, sorry, to finish the cathedral. And so that's what's amazing. So Viollet-le-Duc worked on from 1843 to about 1860, 61. And everything on it is going to be amazing. But one of the really cool things is the things that they've learned doing this, the tests that they have done. One thing, and I'm sure I've talked about it before because it's one of the things I love. Viollet-le-Duc on the very top of the cathedral, basically take the roof off, like unfortunately that happened. Around the very top, you have these massive, massive, like rectangular stones. And and some of them were, a lot of these were like the original ones going back, to 12th century. What Viollet-le-Duc did was he added these huge iron staples, and these iron staples would be, 16 to 18 inches long, and they put them in, like basically you're stapling from above into these two stones. And he did it all the way around the top. And they say because he did that, that is what kept the roof up, because If not, when everything went down, those would have probably been pushed to the side and the church would have been lost. And they had never seen those in a construction work before.
He knew.
He knew. He was a very smart guy. So even with the stained glass, the things that they've been able to do tests, they know exactly now which ones on the South Rose window, which ones date to 12th century, which ones date to 19th century that Viollet-le-Duc had changed. It's fascinating. And I love that every 6 months or so, they put out this really cool kind of magazine book. And the last one will be the one that comes out at the end of the year in December, January. But they are putting together a special box where you could get all 8 issues. They're all in French, but they have the most amazing stories, and they take different moments in French history that had to do with the cathedral and what that did, whether it was, Charles de Gaulle and the liberation of Paris, or Napoleon's coronation in 1804. So it's pretty amazing. But I think the one thing about it is, even my clients today, I walk them around and show them the pictures on the walls. And the coolest thing is to see how many young people are working on it. Some of them are as young as 16 years old in the summer working on Notre-Dame. And that's just what's amazing, because that's going to be something that stays with them the rest of their life.
Yeah, and all these specialty workers that have come in and just recreated the way it was.
Yeah, I mean, because they had to do it exactly how it was. But, the good thing is the difference between, this being in France and being in the US. A lot of times I have a lot of Americans that are like, well, where do they get these workers? But for France, think about how many churches we have and chateaus and monuments. These are really, really good jobs. So people still and kids still want to be, organ tuners and organ makers and stone sculptors and ornamental roofers and all those things, because they can make really good money and they never run out of work.
Especially in France. I mean, we got all this old stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially here. So I just don't, I've always kind of thought that if this had happened to a church in the US, they probably wouldn't know what to do. Unfortunately, we don't have those craftspeople that are doing things. And also, we don't have things that age in the US. So it is very different, but it's pretty amazing in the stories that are coming out of it. One thing that's going to be completely new, and there was a rule that they said everything in the church that was there on April 14th, 2019, the day before the fire, has to return. But what the difference is the diocese, the French Catholic diocese, apparently that didn't count to the furniture. And all the furniture and all the liturgical things are going to be new. So they are making new pieces. So there's going to be new chairs. And so I have seen pictures of all of these things, and I've seen little models of them. And some of them they're just very kind of more post, or what do they call it? Postmodern, kind of 60s looking. It's kind of not really my jam, but it is interesting. Some of the pieces are being done out of bronze and limestone. So you're going to have these very kind of modern looking chairs for the priests on the altar, the altars themselves, the holy water fonts. And then they're also making a new reliquary shrine for the crown of thorns. And that one I'm really not into. But I'll put pictures of these things on there. But they did have to go through a lot of back and forth because people weren't very happy about this. But this was also they were also kind of like, too bad, it's our choice.
I mean, as they should be. It's like, take it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, but the other big thing that's still making waves is the first 3 chapels on the south side. And I thought I had read that they had voted this down and they weren't going to do it anymore because people were so mad. But they are taking submissions from artists to do 6 new windows that would tie in a little bit about the history of the last, since the 19th century, and especially the fire and all of that. And so they've had all these artists submit their designs, which we haven't seen yet. We know some of the names of the artists, but not the designs. So they're supposed to have these designs available for people to see by the opening. And then the windows won't be done for another year or so. And then the windows that are there will come out and they will go eventually into the museum that will be at the Hotel Dieu across the street. And that's been talked about for them to do that way before the fire. So hopefully maybe this isn't something we're going to see in 10 years. Maybe we'll see it a little bit before that. But I don't know. I did see, and we'll do an episode about this soon, the windows that were done in the 1930s, some very contemporary windows of 1930 that were done for Notre Dame, and they were only in the windows for about a month and a half before they were taken out, and they were forgotten until the fire, and then they were found. And I saw them in Troyes, over in the Champagne region a few months ago, and they forgot about them.
How the heck did they forget about them?
They just forgot they had them, and because nobody really saw these, and they're actually really interesting. But I went down to Troyes to go see them at the Stained Glass Museum, and I also learned that a third of all of the stained glass in France is in this one teeny tiny town.
That is insane. I want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, we'll do an episode about that. But yeah, it's the cutest. I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes on the train. And it was the cutest little town. And I went to 5 churches and then ran out of time. And I was there for like 12 hours.
Oh, wow. 12
Yeah.
hours.
But it was, it's going to be really great. And one last thing that they're also going to do is, and one of my favorites, Jean-Charles de Casabajak, he is a designer and an artist. He is the one that goes around Paris. If you follow me on Instagram, I always share them, and does the chalk angels all over the city on the wall. And he had done, I think it was 1997, he did the special robes for the Pope, because the Pope at the time was in Paris for World Youth Day. And so he did these special robes that they all wore. He has designed special robes for the priests and the archbishop and all the people, high-ranking people of the church, to wear on the big events. And so that's also really exciting.
Can't wait to see those.
Yeah, so it's going to be changing daily over there. So definitely go check it out if you're, walking around. Do you ever get by there?
We go by there quite often, actually. Sometimes
Yeah.
when we're going across the city, we went by there this morning on the Vespa. I had a shoot in Luxembourg Gardens. It's looking really good.
It is. It's getting so, and I love every time I go by, I'm like, I think some of the scaffolding's coming down. I better come back tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely every time I go by, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's different.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's funny now because for so long it was like, oh, it's so weird not to see the roof or the spire. And now that the spire and the roof has been there, for I think almost a year, it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is just normal. It's back.
Yeah, this is how it is. Well, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for you to share the videos with everybody. And guys, make sure you head over to claudinehemingway.com to learn more and check it all out. Thanks for listening today, guys. If you're interested in learning more about Claudine, her tours, history, and the beautiful photographs that she posts all over Instagram, tune into her website, claudinehemingway.com.